Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment is brought to you by Daniel Hood Roofing. If you need a new roof, these are the guys to trust. Daniel has had his team of professionals on the roofs of just about every home owned by anyone associated with the Sports Source. We trust him. You can too. Plus, you can get $250 off any new roof during basketball season. Call Daniel Hood Roofing today or visit danielhoodroofing.com. All right. I am back with Justin Hamilton. We're over at our side set here. Earlier this year, Tony Romo said during a broadcast that, I know there's some NFL teams looking at Josh Heupel. There have been some rumors that teams would look at Josh Heupel. He's got the contract. I don't think he's got any reason to leave Tennessee right now. But I thought this was interesting. There are a couple of reasons why NFL teams probably might not look at Josh Heupel and why his system in college might not be, the things that make it great here might not be as strong in the NFL. And the first thing I want to talk about, there's 3 points, and the third one will blow your mind. The first one, game operation. You threw this out to me.
I did. In game operation, we're talking about how an offensive call, defensive call are signaled or called into the game. In college, you see the curtains and the signalers and the live and the dead. In the NFL, it's all through a microphone. So the difference is, in college, when signalers are signaling, every player on the field is getting the call. We all know about Spygate. That's why there are microphones.
Never heard of it. As a Pats fan, I've never heard of it.
In the helmets of NFL players. So it's entirely different. So a quarterback now, and they give quarterbacks the original play, which is like reading a passage from the Bible, and then the adjustment play. So it's a long thing, and quarterbacks have to be in the huddle, and then defensive players are doing the same thing. So it totally changes the way that they, at Tennessee, signal plays in and out of the game.
All right, so game operation is one. Number two is roster size in the NFL. It's a 45-man active roster.
45 people, that means that between Jalen Hyatt, Ramel Keaton, and Cedric Tillman, at least two of those three are, when they're not playing wide receiver, covering kickoffs, blocking on punt or covering punts, blocking on kickoff return, because you have to use them. So throughout the course of a game, guys are just going to wear down. And then including your defense now, if you're off the field quick, and your defense who's shorthanded also, they're back on the field quick. So it's just really an entirely different situation.
Yeah, I mean, if you get gassed in college and late in the game, you've got a third-string guy to go in there. In the NFL, there is no third string. It's basically 45-man roster. Half of that's offense, half of that's defense. There is no third string. And those guys are playing special teams, as you say.
Maybe a third kicker, a third quarterback, and then there's a kicker and a holder.
Yeah, that's it. So, all right, and then the third thing I thought was interesting, and let me go ahead and put up a graphic here. I found this fascinating, and it's basically hash marks. And how the hash marks can make a difference between the college and the pros. I've seen this my whole life. Everyone I've mentioned this to has been blown away by this. But college hash marks are 40 feet across, okay? NFL, 18 and a half feet across. So you're playing in a much more condensed field in the NFL, which you knew that. But what it does, that wide side of the college field, because it's stretched so far, wide side, it forces your defense to kind of cheat to that side of the field, which means you can't really disguise blitzes and coverages very well. And I read some NFL guys talking about this, and it's one reason it's so hard to judge quarterbacks and project them at the next level, because they're not seeing anything like they're going to see in the pros when it comes to defense. Let's go ahead and look at these next quotes I'll put up here. And this is from the Boston Globe. It's the same size field, but the hash marks being different changes everything, said former NFL lineman Jeff Schwartz. The more I talk about this, the more I just tell people the NFL and college football are basically two different games. It's a significant difference how the defenses can play, and it's because of the hash marks, an AFC executive said. College defenses tend to cheat toward the wide side of the field, tip their hand by alignment much more than in the NFL. The NFL is all in the middle of the field. The blitzes are less distorted. You can play more coverages. It's just a lot of stuff they don't see in college. College quarterbacks can throw to the short side a lot, the scout said. In the NFL, there isn't really a short side, hence the need for better arm strength to reach all parts of the field. It probably overemphasizes the players that can win in space. At the pro level, you're going to see more man coverage, more of that physical man coverage, and there's not as much room to produce after the catch. All of those things would take the advantages of Josh Heupel's system in the college and make them less advantageous at the next level.
That's correct. And so football, we all sit and watch as we watch games, the slowed down replay, where is it a catch, is it not? Was he inbounds, was he out of bounds? It's truly a game of inches. So in a game of inches, if you increase 10 feet of space or decrease 10 feet of space or 3 yards of span change of space, it's an entirely different game. The ball essentially, relative to a college game, when you watch an NFL game, the ball is always in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
So we already talked about the signaling. We already talked about the way that the operations go. You are looking at now the opportunity to do so many more things on defense, and offensively, so many fewer things because both sides of the field are the wide side of the field. So it's symmetrically a different game, even though the borders are the same. Within those borders, symmetrically, it is an entirely different game.
Which is fascinating because we all know that it's a little bit different. We know that the hash marks are different, but I had no idea that the rules of the game changed so much. Not the rules, but you know what I'm getting at. That the gameplay changes so much because of the distance of those hash marks. And everyone I've run this by has said I had no idea it was that big of a factor. So to see guys say it's two different games, really shocking to me. Justin, good job breaking that down. It's one reason folks probably shouldn't worry about the NFL ever coming for Josh Heupel and his offense. Nobody went after Art Briles, and the NFL guys would go after anybody. So nobody went after Art Briles in that offense years ago. When we come back, let's talk about what the expectations are going to be for Josh Heupel now that he's making $9 million a year. And we will also talk about how tough it is to win in the SEC. So all that's next on the Sports Source. Come on back.